Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to McAD's Entertainment. I'm your host as always, Adam McGahee. Coming back at you guys with another bloody video from the pages of the iconic Marvel Zombies. In our last video of this series, we covered the full gory story of the spleen-slurping King of the Sea, zombie NAMOR. I will have that video linked in the title card and the description below. In today's video, we'll be going over yet another top 10 gory deaths from this legendary series. We did do an initial top 10 that was apparently too gory for YouTube, and it got age restricted. That's how you know it's good. With that said, you guys seem to have loved that video, so I'm going to do another one. There certainly is not a shortage of horrible demises in Marvel Zombies, so without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy yet another top 10 gory deaths from Marvel Zombies. Number 10. Aunt May and Mary Jane. Coming in at the number 10 spot are two of Spider-Man's closest living loved ones, Aunt May and Mary Jane. In the early days of the zombie outbreak, Spider-Man was one of the first to witness his fellow Avengers turn into undead monsters. He tried to save who he could, but was quickly seen as a threat by Colonel America, who took to the rooftops and proceeded to bite the wall crawler right in his juicy deltoid. While his spider powers would keep the infection at bay longer than others, Spidey's life would soon take a turn to the dark side when he came home to see if his Aunt May and Mary Jane were alright. Revealing just what had happened, Aunt May, being the sweet old lady that she was, went to get some peroxide to clean up the nasty bite that Peter got, while MJ went to comfort him. However, Peter soon revealed he was much less than okay when he straight up puked into his mask and collapsed to the ground. MJ went to approach him and mistakenly ripped off his mask, revealing his decayed zombified face. He then leapt on poor MJ and began tearing into the horrified woman. Coming back with the peroxide, just in the nick of time, a horrified Aunt May witnessed what was going on, as Peter, not in control of his actions, pleaded for her to lock herself in the bathroom before he could harm her. Poor Aunt May would sadly meet her end though, as we see Spidey promptly gobble her down as a half-eaten zombie MJ would watch. Man, that is all kinds of messed up. Honestly, I don't care if you're a holy fusion of Dr. Phil, Mari, and Jerry Springer, no amount of therapy is bringing you back from that. Number 9. Nick Fury. No, not even our homie Nick Fury was safe from the hands of death in this hellish dimension. When the outbreak had initially gotten out of hand, a few shades lighter Nick Fury gathered the non-infected heroes that he could find to combat the hordes and save who was left. It was during this time that he tasked Reed Richards to research a cure, while Tony Stark was charged with building a multiversal portal to lead the survivors to safety in another world. While all would seem under control with the smartest man alive at the helm of his research, Reed pulled the most unexpected Uno reverse card ever after he went absolutely insane when a zombie She-Hulk had eaten his children. Believing that the virus was the next step in evolution, Reed then purposefully infected his fellow Fantastic Four members, who in turn infected him. Freshly undead and with a hankering for some human meat, the Frightful Four then made their way to Tony Stark's teleporter so they could access the multiverse, only for Fury to push the device, which conveniently had wheels on it, away as the gang infected the hapless Iron Man. Fury then sealed off the doors to the helicarrier, where he was met by the remaining non-infected heroes. Knowing that this was their last stand to protect the multiverse, Fury had Thor destroy the machine as the four ripped their way through the door. Once through, the not-so-happy family tore poor Fury to absolute pieces, leaving a tattered pile of bones all over the ground as they infected the remaining Avengers in the room. You think they ate the eye patch too? Yeah, they definitely did. Number 8. Colonel America. Yes, sadly even the Marvel Blue Boy Scout too fell victim to the undead virus, and became a ruthless killing machine. During one of his battles, he came face to face with a still human Magneto, who had so selfishly destroyed another multiverse device, therefore locking the zombies in this hellish dimension. The good Colonel and several others gave chase to the mutant and nearly caught him, only for Mags to use his power to grab Steve's shield and proceeded to use it to sever the top of his head, exposing his rotted brain, and sent him tumbling to the ground. After being tossed through an entire building, it would be revealed that Cap was still alive, despite, missing huge chunks of his brain. I'm sure he's fine. He doesn't need that anyway. Zombie Colonel America would fare quite well for a man with half a head, and even managed to defeat the Silver Surfer with several other of his pals, where they ate him and got his powers. This would eventually pit the boys up against Galactus, where after quite the scuffle, they managed to down the purple-clad Titan as well. Seeing that dinner was hotter and readier than a Little Caesar's pizza, the lads went to feast, only to be stopped by Red Skull and several others who wanted the grub for themselves. This caused Steve and the gang to go to war with the villains, which didn't end too great for the baddies, given the heroes near godly powers. During the fight, Steve would seemingly get the upper hand on Zombie Red Skull and went to finish him, only for the Crimson-headed man to take advantage of the guy's obvious weak point. He then grabbed Cap's exposed brains and ripped them out, causing the zombie hero's body to immediately shut down and collapse lifeless to the ground. While it seemed pretty conclusive that this was Colonel America's end, he would slightly live on 40 years later, where Black Panther, revealed to have survived, rebuilt what was left of society. Panther's head scientist Reynolds, in secret, had found the remains of Cap's brain from this battle all those years ago, and then uploaded them into the zombified body of T'Challa's dead son, thus creating a mindless zombie robot super soldier. Used as a tool to fight against the remaining zombies, this new Cap would meet his end after being teleported to another world ravaged by the zombie virus, and was ultimately killed by this Earth's zombie Avengers. Man, to go from alive, to undead, to dead, to undead again, and then dead again, Colonel America may just have the most wild tale in all of Marvel Zombies. Plus, he was the only hero in the series to pull a reverse Michael Jackson and go from white to black. Dude definitely lived the most interesting life of all time. Number 7. Morbius. You better believe it's Morbin time, for in the number 7 spot is the best superhero of all time, and that would be Zombie Morbius. The crazy thing about Zombie Morbius, other than being both a zombie and a vampire and calling himself a Vambi, was that he was one of very few super zombies to infiltrate the main Marvel Earth 616. Using a disguise to look like the real Morbius, this hungry boy would trick this Earth scientist into creating a vaccine for the zombie virus that was actually the virus itself that he planned to use to infect this Earth's heroes. His plan was later discovered though by Machine Man and the real Morbius, who was able to escape his captivity and impaled the dude through the chest with a straight up tree. Seeing the giant branch sticking out of him, zombie Jared Leto mocked regular Jared Leto that such monster movie tactics would not work on him, only 4 seconds later to promptly crumble to dust. RIP to the best character of all time. Number 6. Deadpool. Yes, even the dude with the most powerful healing factor somehow was able to be infected by the undead plague and thus became a zombie. Working with zombie Morbius to infiltrate Earth 616, Deadpool, lurking in the swamps of Florida, lured the attention of a group of local heroes who were ambushed by him and his posse of hungry homies. Not playing any games with this gabbing ghoul, the wounded hero Aquarian and the sorceress Jennifer Kale worked together to toss Deadpool through the fan blade of a swamp boat that diced the dude's body, into bloody moist Deadpool chunks. The only thing left surviving, and still quite talkative, was his head that was taken into custody by dimensional authorities, only to later fall into the hands of the main Earth Deadpool, where they went on all sorts of adventures with other Deadpools. Seriously, if you need a Deadpool fix, this is the story for you. Later on though, Zombie Deadpool, now more properly called Headpool, was intercepted by a dark and murderous Deadpool who was on a mission hunting his other variants. He proceeded to throw Headpool into a microwave where he turned up the heat and cooked him until he legit exploded into a zombie gooey mess all over the floor. Number 5. Zombie Stilt Man. Gotta throw this one in here because there are a few of you loyal subscribers who have been requesting this guy, and this would be the nearest and dearest to our hearts, Zombie Stilt Man. This second-rate villain was one of many to work under the rule of Zombie Kingpin once the most powerful heroes had left the planet in search of more food. Working with Zombie Jackal, the boys had created a human cloning program that created an unlimited supply of tasty meat for them to partake in. This was discovered by Machine Man, who was not too keen on these nasty dinner parties where he activated full Doomslayer mode and tore into Kingpin's forces. One of the villains to fall by his hand was Zombie Stilt Man, who attempted to stop the guy, only to get insulted and sliced completely in half by Machine Man's hand buzzsaw. Remember guys, despite being a zombie or not, there are girls who would still date this guy over you just because he's taller. So, honestly, good riddance, Zombie Stilt Man. Number 4. Quicksilver. No, not even Marvel's fastest man was fast enough to evade becoming an undead hungry zombie. In his quest to rid the world of Kingpin's forces, Machine Man was able to blow up the cloning lab, where he stole Ghost Rider's bike and went to make a getaway. Furious at his food lab being shut down, Kingpin sent Quicksilver and the other speedsters at his disposal after Machine Man as they engaged in a fiery chase through the city streets. After mistakenly running over one of the zombies who got caught up in the bike, the poor thing exploded, sending a wounded Machine Man flying down into the New York subways. Being caught by the surviving undead, the boys planned to get revenge on the Robot Man, only for it to be a holographic trick by Machine Man, who continued his brand of undead justice. Hearing the quickly approaching feet of Quicksilver through the tunnels, Machine Man then used his fingers to extend razor-sharp rope lines from one end of the tunnel to the next. Before he could even see this Home Alone-style booby trap, Quicksilver ran through the wires, severing his undead body to pieces. Honestly, this has to be one of the most creative and coolest kills in this entire series. Machine Man is an underrated Giga Chad, and we all love him for it. Number 3. Howard the Duck. No, not even the ducks were safe from the undead virus, as we see poor Howard too fell victim to the infection. We first see the dude snacking on the Earth 2149 version of Evil Dead's Ash Williams, while the real Ash Williams watched in horror. Not about to be turned into local duck pond food, Ash activated his chainsaw and sliced the feathered foe directly in half. Thinking this was the end of things, Ash would be sorely mistaken, as half of the hungry mallard lunged at the dude for seconds. Before he could strike, Howard was promptly turned to glass by a quick-acting Scarlet Witch, who arrived to the scene. Not taking any chances, Ash proceeded to kick the beautiful Howard statue to pieces, sending little glass duck shards all over the ground. Okay, Howard, I actually feel bad for the little guy. Rest in peace, buddy. Number 2. Happy Hogan. Sadly, the happy-go-lucky right-hand man of Tony Stark also lost his life to the zombie virus in the pages of Marvel Zombies Return. After being teleported to a world called Earth Z, the remaining zombies tried to relive their lives as heroes, but sadly their hunger returned and they reverted back to their violent selves, causing them to spread the infection to this Earth as well. Zombie Giant Man, with access to the Watcher's technology, just happened to find himself teleported to the basement of this world's Stark International. Hearing the alert of an intruder in the basement, this Earth's Happy Hogan opted to go down and check it out, because this Tony was too drunk to even go down the stairs. Upon entering the basement, Happy encountered what he thought were stalactites, only to actually be the giant nasty slimy teeth of Zombie Giant Man, who chowed down on the unsuspecting man. Now missing an arm and coughing up blood, poor Happy was quickly transformed into a zombie, where he made his way upstairs and began ripping into the horrified staff. Witnessing this completely horrifying situation, a quick-acting roadie whipped out his pistol and blasted poor Happy's brains out. Honestly, this just may be the saddest death in the whole series. We'll miss you, Happy. And coming in at the #1 spot, Earthsea Spider-Man. As mentioned before, once the original Marvel zombies came to Earthsea, they began spreading the infection to all who stood in their path. The first to spread this virus was our boy Spider-Man, who quickly turned this Earth's Sinister Six into an Eli Roth film. Witnessing this complete evisceration of his comrades, Sandman, actually using his brain, said the heck with this, and got out before Spider-Man could bite into him. On the run, Sandman was then met by this Earth's very normal Spider-Man, who thought that the villain was up to his usual bad guy antics. Not aware of the dimensional craziness going on, Sandman thought that this was the zombie Spider-Man who was back out for lunch. In this headspace, our boy Flint went full instant kill mode and began brutally beating this Spider-Man to the ground. Mockingly telling the dude to eat this, Sandman then used his powers to enter Spidey's mouth. He then proceeded to fill the wall crawler's stomach with so much sand to the point that the dude could barely stand. With his last breath, Peter cried out for Gwen, only for his stomach to rip and explode, resulting in a bloodied mess of busted bones and organs all over the New York alley. Man, I'll never forget reading this at Barnes & Noble when it first came out, and to this day I'll honestly never forget it. It was a silent and disturbing drive home that day. And that is another top 10 gory deaths from Marvel Zombies. This series is certainly not afraid to off anyone in the most extreme ways, and is honestly what makes this one of the most iconic and shocking comic stories of all time. Almost everyone in this story meets a gruesome demise of some kind, so you better believe that there will be another top 10 listing in the near future. More than anything, I want to hear what you think. What death from this list was goriest to you, and what other characters or stories should we cover? Sound off in the comments. Also be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed today's content, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon to be notified of all of our latest videos. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the music in this video, it was all made by my boy Ognihs. You can check out his Spotify in the link below. You can also check out our Discord chat, also in the link below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are awesome and loved. God bless, and I will see you in the next one.